Boy, do I despise labeling myself. I automatically feel as though I'm being inferior to myself. Like, oh man, I'm painting myself in a corner, putting myself in a little box. But I must give a certain understanding because I want to talk about Africa. the near past and the future. Because many people are unclear about what's going on in Africa. And I would love to shed a little light and invoke a flame to burn inside your God force. Thank you for attending this episode on Foundation for Elevation Station. My name is Leon Meredith, and I love you. Now, me being Black, Asiatic, African American, soldier, God's lieutenant. I mean, it's a lot of titles. But I want to talk about people of color. Color, this right here, this type of complexion, skin, we supposedly derived from slaves or maybe from Indian folks that was really African that had been here before a certain time and kind of fell out a sequence of events. And it's a lot of documented and undocumented stories. But a story I want to talk about is Africa. Many times, several great men tried to unify Africa, to no avail to the tricksters that want to seize as much power as possible. One man specifically was Gaddafi. He seems to be a rare man, but of course he was painted to be despicable, suffering succotash. The illusions that's put out there in this world to guide our spirits and thoughts to think certain things. These are some of the reasons Gaddafi was taken from us. At his height, no one over there had an electric bill. The part of his country that had electricity, everyone had it free. Number two, any loans that was given by the banks that were state-owned, they gave a 0% interest on the loans. Zero, that's like a goose egg. Zero. This is what this man got murdered for. And they tried to take him out a few times. But more on that later. Gaddafi, he promised not to buy his mother and father a home until everyone in his country had a home. He said his mother and father would be last. Picture that. They stayed with him. He said, no, they just gonna stay. Everybody else gonna get love. Education and medical treatments in Libya were free. And at the time of his height, 25% of people, well, before, 25% of people were able to read at his height. When he first started, it was 25%. And at his height, it was 83% of the country was able to read. Reading is so powerful. And we are allowing it to be extinct in my communities. We have people that read little articles on their phone about Cardi B or what's the newest Butt Love or P. Diddy stuff. Lost start. If someone in Libya wanted a farm, they received the free household appliances, seeds, and livestock to do so from the government. Straight up. If they could not receive treatment in Libya, the state would fund them $2,300, for travel and board and treatment. If they wanted to buy a car, the government would finance half of their payment. Like, y'all got 500, government got 500, go get your car. What a beautiful place. He brought the gasoline prices down for everyone in the country to 14 cents a gallon. Albeit, this was a while ago, but it was real. And last but not least, he made the country not have any national debt. And the reason why he did that is because Africa is rich. Like the land, the minerals, the elements that is within the ground, the rubies, the diamonds, everything is so valuable in that part of the earth that you can manufacture so much from it. And see, that's where the Europeans come into play. And I don't mean all white folks, because Lord knows I know Caucasians love me more than people in my community. But what I'm saying is that the people that began the slave trade and continue to pillage the continent called Africa, it started with the slave trade, with them trying to build a corporation called the United States of America. Different groups of people from different countries over there, Berlin, British Columbia, all them European countries had a stake in the slave trade to build their wealth, power. At the end of the slave trade, like in 1880, they knew that they had to take control of Africa before African Americans, blacks that were here, were able to rise up and claim all the power that was there. But they had to strategically do it. So in 1884, before freeing the slaves, technically, they had a conference over in, I think, Berlin, Germany, where a lot of the powerful people gathered in a room with Africa plastered on the wall, and they were sectioning that thing off to figure out how they would send what forces where and who had control of what territories so that they can further pillage the resources that are contained in Africa. See how I make it simple? I know a couple guys break it down much better than me. It's like Dr. Umar, but he kind of wordy. He go out there and only the sophisticated people clearly understand what he talk about. The angry, no offense, good brother, or those people that follow you actively. So I ain't talking about those smarty pants right now. We need regular folks that have a clear understanding, and I believe that's what I'm doing here. So they continue to sink their teeth into Africa in many ways. Economically, business-wise, just they did all they can do to lock down portions of Africa for their constituents and families going forward. Well, this multiplied over the years until we even get to the death of Gaddafi, the murder, the assassination. And at that point, we had Russia, China, mobilize their efforts in the biting hard into Africa. Many African American powerful people are looking and have looked into Africa like, how can I build off of that? But it's not possible because our time is next. African American ladies will have administration over things next, but at this point, they're already locking down in position the most of Africa in all totality. Initiatives are pushed forward with relentless force down there, and you could see different tribes and cities that have been taken over by Africa. Taken over by Chinese, taken over by Russia, that getting taught their way of life. I seen a video the other day where it was like Chinese was teaching them how to do morning routine before going into work. They was in the street, marching and doing basically stretch calisthenics, and then going into work to do their day. It wasn't actual slavery, but I guess it's as close as you can get to, colonize in a updated manner. This is why many successful black people must begin to understand what's going on. Because many of us, we would love to do business with the African country. All those resources over there, what types of things are standing in the way for us to merge certain businesses and communities and do business in a beautiful way from all the resources that are contained from the land over there? You best believe we got tons of bankers, political people. We have these families of the European country that will do all they can to not allow that to happen. So, number one, we always have a call to action. Call to action is first what? First thing is to realize our situation and what's going on. And after we realize our situation and what's going on, number two, we start to have discipline and minimalization over our spending and life habits. How can we continue to spend just frivolously when we have so much to build and we're able? And it only had to be 12 to 15% of us to literally just buckle our belt, tighten our shoes, and wear the same clothes we've been having for 2-3 years and grind. Let's stop living this illusionary life. Just 2-3 years, hit grind mode. Stop eating $40 takeout meals once a day. Cease to going to McDonald's for children a few times a week. Oh, today we eat pizza. We could have cooked so many meals in the home for that, and been healthier. We could have saved money and been healthier. We have been coerced into a way of life that's likened to addiction. What do? That's what we do. We begin to recognize We do a self and community assessment. Stop spending our money. Reallocate that money we've been, spending. Now we saving it. Reallocate it. As we come together and form partnerships in different companies, we're able to do more because we not jacking off funds all the time. We taking those profits and we doing what it do with it, flipping it like it's, like it's a hot bag. A lot of people remember them hot bags. I'm talking about drug dealer. We flip it. As a community, as a people, we flip it. And we have creative ideas for businesses at the forefront. Because I know in my community, we oversaturated all the businesses. And it makes little sense to open one that's just like the other one around the corner and the one 2 streets down. I got a good idea. We gonna serve ice cream to people when they get a haircut. So I got the ice cream shop, but it's gonna be a barber shop too. They gonna get it and they can get my man. So support originality within the people. Doing reputable businesses that's gonna create a stream of revenue from manufacturing, from production. Well, that's just the beginning. I love you, and let's work this, my people, my brothers, my sisters. Sisters, please, let's conquer our spending habits. One last thing for sisters, because I'm a man, and I'm a man, and I can buy some soap that work well for me, or a razor. Let's just stick with the soap. I could stick with that soap 20 years. I say, man, it worked fine enough, man. I ain't in that. So many women I know ain't finna do it. Not all. For all you all police, it's not all. Listen, ladies, not all. All you all police, not all. So, not all. I know so many women that you will get a good product, but you still gotta try something else. You gotta start to overlap them. You gotta, man, I am so fresh too. We gotta just buckle down on stuff. Just like now, I get my deodorant, literally. I exercise all the time. I am a fresh guy. I really, take pride in being fresh. You want to know how much deodorant I put on? If I do, when I do put on deodorant, I can have the toxic antiperspirant. It's all bad. It's all bad. But this is how much I wipe it. Not even hard either. It's that. And I'm good all day. I know some people, number one, most deodorants is poisonous. And number two, we wasting so much. We do it with our body washes, which is a large degree poisonous also. I see, we just put so much on the sponge. I see people do it. And then take the sponge and just dunk it in the water with the bathtub, and half of it's gone in the water, and then do it again. It's like so wasteful. I know people do their deodorant like this. Got big chalk balls under their underarm. Like, what the hell? You messing your clothes up, and you got a higher percentage of poison just on you. Pasted. I guess this is just my ideology. Oh, man. Ah, maybe it'll catch on, maybe it won't. I got a lot of things like that. We have become so wasteful as African Americans. It's just, what's a good word for it? Preposterous. It's preposterous at how wasteful we have become. I ain't gonna tell you about what I'm just cooking, how I'm gonna multiply it. Multiply healthily. Oh man, we gotta live, we gotta love, we gotta realign our practices of life down to the way we wipe our butt, down to the way we brush our mouth, not our teeth, not only our teeth, but our mouth. How do we cleanse our mouth? I love you. I go on forever. I love you. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Ain't nothing you can do about it. I don't care how much you hate me. I still love you. But I'm still gonna tell you back up, or it's on